gonna be honest, I thought this would be a pretty fun video idea, especially since Gus vs. Dimitri recently came out. And I don't really talk about Death Battle on my YouTube, but since I didn't really have any video plans as of right now, I thought, you know what, fuck it, I'll talk about the first 7 Season 10 Death Battles. Yeah, I'm gonna be honest, I'm just gonna cut to the chase. Like, I'm not gonna give off a whole, huge intro or anything like that, but I will say this, though. For the death battles that I'm going to discuss in this video, it's just going to be Ant-Man vs. Adam up until Gus vs. Dimitri, and I might do a full Season 10 video, but that's really up for you guys to decide on, really. I don't review death battles. I mean, I do sometimes on my Instagram, but that's mostly just on tier lists. Otherwise, though, I don't really talk about them on YouTube, unless you guys really want me to. And if I have some extra time on my hands, and in case I don't have any video uploads. So yeah, you know what, with all that said and done, let's go ahead and start, because I have a lot to talk about here, even though there's only 7 episodes, but still.
That's it, gonna need a bigger gun.
Okay, so I don't think anybody was expecting this to be at the bottom of my list, and here's the most important thing to keep in mind. First off, these are all just my own opinions, and secondly, this has to be the biggest thing to remember, none of these are actually bad. Then again, I never really found a death battle to be truly horrible with maybe some exceptions, so yeah, my number 7 on this list is going to be a controversial pick, especially since Biff Weed, who actually really loves this episode. So, Biff Weed, I'm really sorry, but Rocket Raccoon vs. Stitch has to be at the bottom of my list. This is an episode that I don't really like or anything like that, but there's nothing really special about this in my own opinion. The matchup is pretty good, and I'm gonna be honest here, I should be more excited about the matchup because, I really did like Lilo and Stitch a little bit when I was growing up, and Rocket is easily my favorite member of the Guardians of the Galaxy, when I still cared about Marvel at the time. Sounds like a match made in heaven? Well, no, not really. Like I said, this is not bad in the slightest. It's actually quite good, but there's just nothing really special about it. I guess the perfect way to describe this death battle is missed potential. Also, there's nothing really that makes me feel excited or anything like that. Maybe it did back in the season premiere, but it's probably just the death and maybe something that Stitch does, but okay, I'm sorry, I really don't know what else to say. Also, one major thing to keep in mind here, I'm not going to count the analysis or anything like that, just the fights themselves. That's actually how I rank these death battles, by the way, on Instagram. I just focus on the fights themselves, I don't really count the analysis. But yeah, Rocket vs. Stitch is good, but there's just nothing really that makes me want to rank this any higher.
I'll hack his belt. You lay low and let me know what you find.
I'm gonna be honest, I was originally gonna rank Ant-Man vs. Adam at the bottom of this list. Not because there was anything bad that stuck out about it, but I thought there wasn't really anything that I could possibly remember other than it being, I guess, a good season premiere. But then I had to put Rocket vs. Stitch at the bottom of my list, so now it'll just be number 6. Don't get me wrong though, Ant-Man vs. Adam definitely has more rewatchability, if you want to say that. I don't even know if that's a word. Anyway, I do actually like this a bit better though. The matchup itself is at least interesting, to say the least. I like Adam, but I'm not really a fan of Ant-Man. But the death battle itself is actually quite good. So, unlike Rocket vs. Stitch, where it just seems like more missed potential, this felt like almost full potential, actually. Okay, you know what? I'm just gonna move on. I'm sorry, but I really don't know what else to talk about. I had to pause this recording just for a few minutes so I could think of anything to say, but no, not really. This is just kind of a generic season premiere, but it's still quite good though, in my opinion. So just to be safe, let's just move on and skip this next entry. Don't get me wrong about Dragonborn vs. Chosen Undead. I was at least decently excited when this match came out, as well as the build-up for it. But as a little bit of time went on, this just became very forgetful. Not in a bad way by any means. It's just that except the track Fireborn, I don't really go to this episode too much. Fireborn, by the way, is a fucking phenomenal vocal track. I just thought I'd talk about that. Maybe I could do a separate list if y'all want me to about death battle tracks. But anyway, we're getting off track. Get it? I said track. Okay, anyway. Now, don't get me wrong when I say this, the matchup itself seems pretty damn appropriate. I like Skyrim and Dark Souls, even though I never played any of the games. But in execution, it worked really good, actually. Also, just so that I could talk about something in the match, I thought it was pretty funny to see Chosen actually die a few times, including the Dark Soul game over theme. I thought that was pretty funny. And this feels like sort of one of those serious matches I don't know, I'm really out of things to say. I know this isn't going to be like that for the rest of this list, trust me. Probably after our next entry, there will definitely be more to talk about, I promise. And just in case anybody like Biffweed is watching this is completely unscripted, so I apologize. To be honest, I didn't feel too excited when Phoenix vs. Raven got announced, but when the death battle actually came out, it made me change my mind. And you know what? I'm probably gonna say this that many people might not agree with, but I think this is actually better than Raven vs. Twilight. While I didn't care in the slightest about Phoenix being in death battle, since I don't care about Marvel that much anymore, with only a few exceptions, this match actually works quite well. Okay, I'm running out of things to say. Now, it's probably just because of these bottom four that maybe don't have too much to talk about, but I promise you, with these next three, I at least have a fair amount, especially the top two, that I actually have a decent amount of stuff to talk about. Look, I apologize. Okay, we're just gonna take a break from the countdown for a second. I really do apologize if my bottom four didn't have that much to talk about. It's just that I'd rather watch it and have all my emotions compiled together while watching it, instead of having to compile them into a review. Look, I'm just like that, and I know there are some people like Nemesis Bloodacre, and again, Biffweed, who actually make this into compiled scripts and actually make them into season reviews, or anything like that. But for me, though, I'm not really like that, honestly. Trust me, I do like to do tier lists, but that's about all you're gonna get from a review. So anyway, without further ado, let's get into my top three.
You are liberated from hell. Find peace in the next life.
Darth Vader vs. Obito was actually really surprising. I was not expecting to love it that much, and I'm gonna be honest, this was actually originally my top two before the most recent entry on this list. But yeah, Vader vs. Obito is quite amazing. Now, when the trailer did come out, I wasn't actually too excited, not because I didn't know who Obito was, but it was just kind of boring to have another Vader match, but damn, what a badass execution. You know what I just thought of? This is probably just as good as Madara vs. Aizen. I can already hear Biffweed making a video saying that that's impossible. Look, I'm sorry, I just love this fight so much, and in fact, this made me warm up to Obito, who's quite a badass character. And while sure, I still wasn't really fine with Vader in this, I didn't have a problem with it or anything like that, it's just that I wasn't really the biggest fan of Star Wars when this came out. So just to fill the runtime, I thought I'd talk about some scenes that I really did enjoy. First off, can I just say this right now, the tailed beast bomb scene is fucking amazing. Like, it's slowly charging up, and then it firing at Vader while Vader stops it, and then shrinks it. That's just speechless. I love that scene. Otherwise though, the rest of the fight is quite amazing. So while the rest of the fight is fucking flawless, the scene with Anakin and Padme pretty much bothered me. But thankfully I could just skip it. Otherwise though, like I mentioned, there's nothing bad for me to talk about. And I love Obito's last line before he delivers the death, which I know might seem pretty boring considering that's just a sword slash, but I felt all the impact when he slammed it on Vader. Like, amazing. Now what could top that?
You foul beasts will not have its soul!
Guts vs. Dimitri is fucking awesome. When the announcement came out, I was pretty damn excited. Not for Guts, but for Dimitri itself, since I'm a pretty big Fire Emblem fan, and for this very first Fire Emblem death battle, it feels like a really well-deserved first execution. Now, like I said, I didn't care that much about Guts, and that's mainly because I'm not a Berserk fan, although I'm a little bit interested in it. And I did like Guts vs. Nightmare, that was a good one. But the reason why this is so much better is not just because Dimitri is a cool enough character to be added on here for this to be a decent enough matchup, but everything works perfectly. I know that sounds like kind of a dumb answer, but really though, if you see this for yourself, you'll understand why this works really well for me. And not just because it's a match like John vs. Saberwolf where it's supposed to be extremely gory. Well, no, this doesn't really pull anything like that. Alright, so I'm gonna be honest, I'm not really sure what else to talk about for the fight, but I will say though, the death itself, if you can even call it that, is just rather confusing. Now, this is probably because I don't know Guts' character very well, but it was just rather confusing, and I was worried that maybe Guts would probably just, slash Dimitri while he's down, but no, he's frozen there, and then Dimitri leaves, so I guess it's a death, but I'm just rather confused than anything else. Otherwise though, this matchup was fucking great. I would love to see something like this happen for maybe another Fire Emblem character, like, I don't know. I would hope to see Marth, Byleth, or maybe even Ike at some point. That'd be pretty great. Alright, So without further ado, let's talk about my absolute favorite death battle of this season so far.
Meaning it can be disrupted!
Where do I even start with Killua vs. Misaka? Well, let's talk about everything leading up to the battle, shall we? So, when the trailer first did get announced, it was kind of interesting to see Misaka for the very first time, even though I don't even know who she was until this fight came out. But I wasn't really happy about Killua because, I'm gonna be honest, before this death battle even came out, I actually hated Killua. Not because he was a bad character or anything, but it was because of him and DBX's that actually her characters that I actually liked. But all that changed when this same death battle got uploaded. In fact, before the death battle even got uploaded, when I found out about the sneak peek, I was really interested in it. And I'm gonna be honest, I rewatched it a few times that more people would actually just say maybe once or twice is enough. But then when the death battle came out, every single little thing changed into something that's perfect. Being not only my favorite anime death battle for the season, but the best death battle of this entire season for me. Well, so far at least, but I do hope that this is my favorite of the season. So for the actual battle itself, I have a few things that I actually do want to talk about. First off, the track Change of Heart. I was expecting it to be like maybe some upbeat metal vocal track, but no, it's actually a fucking amazing instrumental track that works perfectly, and I mean perfectly for this entire fight. I also like Killua and Misaka's voices for this match. They sound quite good. I guess to quote Biffweed for, I guess how fast-paced this is not too fast where I don't know what's going on, but just enough where I know what actually is going on. Also, can I just say this is probably the best background I've ever seen for any death battle? I know it's just a nighttime city, but it works absolutely perfectly. And look, I know I'm overusing the word perfectly, but you have to understand, I love this death battle so much where that's like the only word I could possibly say. And as for the death, I actually didn't know it was a fake out for Misaka, but it ended up being a fake out, which not only surprised me, but it worked quite well for its execution. And the death itself is pretty nice and gory, though, I will say that. This is actually being my second favorite death in the entire series, right behind Homelander's death, which I still think is my favorite in the entire series. But we'll get to that if y'all want me to. And honestly, that's where this tale of this death battle comes to an end, and after checking this out a bunch of times, this made me actually like Killua a lot now, and it kind of boosted my love of Hunter x Hunter just up a little bit. So that's it. I apologize if we didn't go off with a bang or anything like that, but I really don't know what else to say. So I think we'll just end here. Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed this video. I might do a full Season 10 video at some point, but I can't entirely promise it. It would take nearly forever, though. Maybe not, but it really depends if I'm in the mood to do it or not. But if y'all want me to do more death battle reviews, then go ahead and let me know in the comments down below. With all that said, I'll see y'all later with whatever we do next time, because that's all for now.